don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Political Spotlight. This is the 223rd episode. 223rd episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. It's great to be seen by you and good to be talking with you all. Producer Kate is here doing the thing that Producer Kate does. We want to give her a shout out. Thank you all for tuning in. The show wouldn't be the show without all of you, and we understand that your time is valuable, and we are honored that you have decided to share some of that time with us. Before we get into the show, we want to ask you all to consider hitting the like button. Please smash that like button now at some point in the show. At least before you leave, we would ask that you do that. Thank you very kindly for that. Also, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It does not cost you anything, but once you subscribe, you will then be able to click the bell, which will allow you to set up all of your notifications so that you can know when we go live. We're generally live Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m., but then when we drop shorts, or we drop static videos, yada, yada, yada. I have a static video that will be dropping as soon as this video ends. Well, no, I'm putting it forward. It'll be dropping tomorrow morning, so be looking for that. It's called Checks and Signatures, I think. Checks and Signatures. It's got to do with the Greenlight Resources debacle. It's just like a little 7-minute little video, so check that out. We are a very interactive show, which means we want to hear what you have to say. We want you to communicate with us. If you are watching live, please feel free to comment over there in the live comment box. If you are watching at your own time on repeat some point in the future, please comment in the comment box below. We will try to get back to you as soon as possible. And most importantly, please help spread the word by sharing the show with everyone that you know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you tonight is going to be a very big show. We're going to be talking about a couple of different things. We're going to be talking about a couple of important things from all over the political spectrum throughout Indiana. We're going to be talking about Henry County. We're going to be talking about Delaware County. And we're going to be talking about the state of Indiana. So if you know if you know anyone that is interested in what goes on with the Henry County Sheriff's Department, the Henry County Commissioner's Office, the Henry County Council, anything going on with Henry County, they're going to want to watch this episode. If you know anybody that's interested in what's going on in Delaware County, they're going to want to watch this episode. And if you know anybody that is going to be heading to the Republican convention this coming Friday and Saturday, you're going to want to share this episode with those people. We're going to be talking about one of the candidates for lieutenant governor. And we're going to be talking about what I think's going on there. It's a horrible disaster. So we're going to be getting into that. And yeah, it's going to be fun. We're also going to see what you all have to say. Let's see here. EJack, it must be your feed. So pop out and pop back in if you are so inclined. It should help you out. And let's see here. Hello to everybody watching. And all right, let's get to it. So let me see. First up, we're going to get Delaware County out of the way. Delaware County is going to be a pretty quick ordeal. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way, and that way we can get into the majority of the rest of the show, which is going to be kind of the bigger deal. That's going to be the biggest part. Let me see here. I need to send something. Yeah. Kate, I just sent you 2 other messages. I'm sorry, I should have sent them to you earlier. Well, I did send them to you earlier, but I did not tell you that we needed them. If you get a chance, could you put those 2 things in the overlays when you get a second? So, all right. In the order of things that are going to be happening tonight, we're going to be talking about Delaware County. We're then going to be talking about Henry County, and then we're going to be talking about the state of Indiana. So, important announcement before we get to any of that. It was brought to my attention that last night we completely skipped something of very important matter here. And I need to address this before we go any further in the show. And I'm going to put this slide up, and I'm going to ask all of you out there that are watching to help me out with this. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Boom! We are going to be saying a very big happy birthday to the mouth of Madison County, Dr. Catherine Callahan, from your family at the Political Spotlight. We took the balls out of your hands and put in some pieces of cake and candles. I have actually worked on this cartoon and got your hands down by your sides so you don't look like such a freak, and we don't always have to have you juggling stuff. So that will be great. But as of right now, you're juggling the pieces of birthday crap. So we missed this. Last night was her birthday. Yesterday was her birthday. But if we could wish her a happy belated birthday, somewhere in the universe, it's still yesterday. So, yeah, there you go, Catherine. So, happy birthday to a very dear friend and family member here of the show. So there you go, Catherine. Thanks for all that you do. Okay, so moving on. What we're going to be talking about tonight is Delaware County, Then we're going to go into Henry County, and then we're going to talk about Julie McGuire. And this is very important. Letting you all know the thing that we're going to be talking about in the state of Indiana is Julie McGuire, the candidate that is currently running for lieutenant governor. She is tapped as Mike Braun's candidate, which immediately should put her at the very bottom of the pile. But some people are being fooled by what I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit later. FYI, my grandparents just texted in to say very happy birthday to Catherine Callahan. So just to let you know, my grandparents just text to say happy birthday, Dr. K. So, all right. For those of you that watched last night, we had on Ryan Webb, and Ryan Webb was here to talk about the Delaware County Council meeting, the special meeting that occurred yesterday. And what was interesting about that meeting was when, first of all, it went live, and the blue screen, the title screen, was up for a very long time. I kept thinking, like, what is going on? Are we not going to get an actual meeting? Are they having issues? What's going on here? And they finally got to the meeting. Keep in mind, yesterday special meeting. And the point of the meeting was to discuss the special salary study, which we now know is a disaster. I talked to Councilor Webb today, and he's been talking to a bunch of employees and department heads. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that Councilor Webb has either put out a video or will be putting out a video where he's breaking it down even further than we did last night and talking about some of the new concerns. And based off what he was talking to me about, you guys must watch that. That is a must-watch video, because there were some other things that were being brought up by some very intelligent department heads, like in the last couple of hours. And like, it's what they're talking about with this salary study. What they're talking about doing is nuts. And I'm just going to say it might work at some point. And it, you know, it might be something that they do, but I would definitely ask, and I am making it known now, I do not want Delaware County to go into this next budget cycle utilizing this salary study. Maybe do something else. I don't know, but I'm just saying, do not use this, because there's just so much chaos. And I'm not even going to say it's I'm going to let Ryan break it down. I'm going to let Ryan break it down because, and I'm on his page. He has not made a video yet. So hopefully he'll be making it sometime today. I don't know if he's here now. But whenever he does make this, we will watch it on the program. It's very big. Okay. I thought we were pretty much done with that. Then we woke up today. And when I woke up today, I had something that was like itching in the back of my head the whole time that we were doing last night's presentation, and that itch was, I don't think everybody was present at the meeting yesterday. It was really weird. They kept saying they kept saying the counselors' names, and I didn't think that everybody was there or everybody was talking. So I want to show you what the meeting looked like right at the beginning, and I want to go through the roll call. All right, I want to go through the roll call, and I want everybody to hear this. Okay, so here we go. Here's going to be the start of the meeting. We're not going through this whole meeting. We've done all of that, but I just want you guys to hear the roll call. Okay, we should be starting any second now. Okay, here it comes.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the June 11th special meeting of the Delaware County Council. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, they do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Webb. Mr. Flanagan.
Okay, now, hold on. They called Mr. Webb, and he did not say, here, okay? I don't exactly know what the deal was. I know that Ryan was there, and I know that Ryan talked. I don't know if Ryan came in later or what happened, but when they first called Ryan's name, he was not there, all right? Keep that in mind. But he does get here at some point, and he gets there pretty quickly. All right, so they called Ryan Webb, but he wasn't there, but he does get there. All right, next. Then they call Flanagan.
Mr. Mokel, here.
And there was no call for Flanagan. So Flanagan was not there, and I do not believe that Flanagan ever showed up. All right, keep that in mind.
Mr. Hughes.
Then they called Mokel. Now they called Mr. And Mokel was there. Now they call Hughes.
Mr. Whitehead, here.
And Hughes was not there. Then they called Whitehead. Whitehead just said here.
Cants, yes.
Now they just called Cants, and Cants is here.
Piper.
Here.
And now they just called Piper, and Piper's here. So, out of all of the counselors, there's 7 council members on this board. 7 council members. Piper's there. Cants is there. Jim Mokel's there. Whitehead is there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a quorum. They've got a quorum. But Hughes is not there. Flanagan is not there. And Webb is not there at the beginning. Now, Webb does show up and attends this meeting at some point, and we can hear at various points. And I don't know if it gets over here and shows, but we can obviously see and hear, at some point. Okay.
The question is mandatory or voluntary? Pardon me? The questionnaires that the employees filled out, was it mandatory?
Okay. So for the record, Flanagan shows up at some point too. So what that means is Webb attends the meeting, Flanagan attends the meeting, Mokel attends the meeting, Cants attends the meeting, Piper attends the meeting, Whitehead attends the meeting. The only councilman that was not present was Bill Hughes. Now, it's important that we talk about that because Bill Hughes has been one of the loudest voices on the council pushing for some sort of a salary study. He's been very vocal about this, calling for this. Okay. A lot of them have been, but he definitely has been. When I woke up this morning, we found out a little more to the story. And here's that. Whoops, not that. Here's that. William V. Hughes, County Council. William says, I have not missed a meeting of the County Council since I began my term, which was 2 years ago. Today, a special meeting, this was last night he said this. Today, a special meeting was held to receive a comprehensive salary study prepared by Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy. I advocated for such a study during my campaign, and I have watched the YouTube video of the meeting. Unfortunately, I did not attend the meeting as I would have because I was not notified of the date and time of the special meeting as required by Indiana state law. I will obtain a copy of the full report and engage with Kent Irwin and his staff with my questions and concerns. I believe this is a promising step toward improving the county's personnel budget process, but I am disappointed that I was not allowed to participate in person. Now, I don't know what he thinks about the process yesterday, what he doesn't think about the process yesterday. Seems like he kind of liked the study. Maybe he has more to add to it. I am not in favor of the study, but I am in favor of all of the councilmen being there. And I know that Mr. Hughes, Councilman Hughes, would be there with bells on. The fact that he was not notified is a problem. There was a comment that was put on Mr. Hughes, Councilor Hughes' post directly after he commented, and that was this by our very own friend of the show, Jackie McCord Fisher. Says, question, concern. Were only a few councilors notified of this meeting? I also did not see any Facebook postings on the Delaware County Government County Council Facebook pages announcing this special meeting. I'm assuming that the council president was responsible to make the appropriate announcements, notifications. Thank you, Mr. Hughes, for your willingness to follow up on the meeting details, etc. So I agree with everybody that's going on here. I think that this is insane. I think that it's crazy. I don't like what's happening. I think that it's 2024. There is no excuse for this happening. Okay. Now I want to show you this. Ryan Webb made the following post 14 hours ago, and it's going to be hard for you to read it. I'm just going to read it to you and we'll go from there. The council members verbally agreed on the date and time of yesterday's special meeting at the end of May's council meeting. With that being said, not being notified of something important regarding the council is common with Jessica Piper as the council president. She does a very poor job communicating as council president to the other members of the council. When Scott Alexander was president, he always communicated with the entire council. Hopefully next year, the council will elect Matt Kantz as council president, and the communication should improve greatly. Listen, I don't know. Matt Kantz is so all over the place, so wishy-washy. Sometimes he's up Jessica's ass. Sometimes he's not. I don't know. He is not impressing me much. He's really gung-ho and yay-rah when it's all about getting his boy elected and doing the thing and, rah-rah-rah. But as soon as Ryan didn't win the election, as soon as Amber didn't win the election, he's right back to subservient Matt kissing Jessica's ass. So, maybe it'll improve. I don't know. And I'll show you why I'm so angry with, we know why I'm angry with Matt, because he is a fence sitter. How's that fence feel between your legs there, Mr. Kantz? So it goes on here, and these are very important comments. Okay. And listen, the reason I'm so mad is because Kantz could be a fantastic councilman. Kantz has it in him. But he's afraid. He's afraid to shake the boat. He's afraid to be treated like Ryan Webb. All right? Now, he's never going to be the next Ryan Webb, but he could be more vocal about what's going on than what he is. Amber Green says, how is this still happening? It's 2024. There are more ways to communicate with others than there ever has been in the past. Cell phone, text, email, social media, home phone, if people still have one, etc. This is inexcusable and unacceptable and just shows one of the many glaring concerns I have with the council going into 2025. Okay. Denise Smith then comments. Denise Smith was responsible for being the voice of the council secretary. For all of you that don't know this, the council secretary is the elected auditor of the county. The elected auditor has a job as the auditor, but one of those roles is kind of like the elected clerk of the city council is the elected clerk in the city is also the council secretary. They have a role as the clerk, but then their other role is being the secretary of the council. The Delaware County auditor and all auditors throughout the county, throughout Indiana, are auditors, and they have a role that they play, but they're also the secretary for the commissioners and the council, the county council. Denise was that person in the auditor's office for so long until she was fired for not being one of Ed's favorite, or until she stepped down because they were trying to screw with her because she didn't bow down to Ed's bullying. Okay. Denise says they do what their cliques tell them, like in high school. Rose Selvey says, I know you would have participated. Dave LaRue says, now you know the residents of Gaston area. Now you know how the residents of Gaston area felt when they weren't notified about the proposed industrial solar installation. A small notification was placed in the Star Press, which very few people even receive or read anymore. As a result, no one showed up to oppose, yet there were hundreds of residents who do. In my opinion, Delaware County should have a redo on the whole mess. Tom Bennington, go pet an alligator. He says, hopefully communication will improve no matter who the president is. Notifications are the auditor's job. Thankfully, you won't be there. Thankfully, you won't be there. He's talking to Ryan Webb. Thankfully, you won't be there. Hey, Tom, if Ryan was the president of the council, it would be posted everywhere. People might hate him. You might hate him. I don't know why you're having a concern or care anymore living down there in Florida, but people would know when shit was. So it's inexcusable that Jessica does not contact her council members. It's inexcusable that the council does not have a better communication between the 7 of its members. And yeah, it is the auditor's office. Just one more thing yet that they have not done right and that they continue to screw up over and over and over again. It's unacceptable. It's unexcusable. It's inexcusable. It's unacceptable. And I am not very happy with it. And we all shouldn't be happy with it. Okay. So there were several comments here. Jackie's comment, Amber's comment, and then Cherish House said, I'm sorry to hear this. Let's see if there are any more comments here. I think maybe I didn't. So that was said there. We'll go ahead and like this. I think that's good. So that deserves a heart. Now, one of the things that bothers me about this is I shared William's post, Councilor Hughes' post. And I said, The picture below perfectly sums up one of the many issues I've discussed for years concerning the Delaware County Council and Council President Jessica Piper. Delaware County Councilor William Bill Hughes is upset about not being notified about yesterday's special meeting held by the Delaware County Council Tuesday, 6/11/24. When Council President isn't even informing her fellow councilors of important information, how can we as citizens expect her to provide us with the important information that we need to know? Elections have consequences. Folks, Jessica Piper is someone that you could have just unelected, but you didn't. I didn't vote for her. I voted to throw her ass out. You guys overruled me. Great. Now we've got her again, and look what we get to deal with. I don't hold out hope that she won't be the president next year, too. So it is what it is. Then we'll also be without Ryan, who also won't tell us more information. Okay, then I shared his thing. What I think is absolutely crazy to me is, in an effort to put out some form of disinformation or, trying to make me look wrong or bad or stupid, because we saw Matt Kantz did not comment on Ryan's. Matt Kantz did not comment on Bill Hughes. Matt Kantz, however, commented on mine. Matt Kantz said, let's see. So we've got a couple of comments here. First and foremost, Amber says, does this mean the meeting was not posted publicly as required as well? Good question, Amber. That's really good. I said, that's really good question, Amber. Jackie McCord Fisher had the same question, and I shared Jackie's question, to which Matt says, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, it was posted. I didn't say it was or wasn't. Amber asked. You spelled Amber wrong. This was just an oversight. Simply no more, no less. No, just an oversight. Nothing to see here. And a miscommunication. Matt, that's what we're sick of. We're sick of the miscommunication, man. After our last council meeting, Bill left immediately after the meeting ended. Okay, that's what happens. We hadn't confirmed a date, and he was the only one that didn't hear the date we selected before everyone left the room. Okay, well, it's important that someone then notifies him of that, right? While no other email was sent out confirming the date was set at that time and never changed. Just a miscommunication, nothing to see here. I'm tired of hearing excuses. Excuses are like assholes. They're all elected to the county government. I mean, whatever that saying is. Okay? I said, Matt Kantz, I think you spelled William Hughes wrong. And he said, as he didn't get it. And then he said, reach outs to Bill already have happened, if that's what you were implying. I don't know. My implying is I didn't put a gun to Bill's head and make Bill write this. I didn't make Bill write this. Kelly Tubin, stick around to the end because we're going to talk some Julie McGuire. I figure you will like that. Stick around. So there's my Delaware County gripe. I don't like what's going on. I'm so happy that Bill Hughes lets it rip when he can. He's like an 83 years young. I love it. He kind of reminds me of my grandpa up there on the thing, and he just says what he says, and it is what it is. And, they're not going to... Listen, Matt Kantz doesn't have the balls to get on and tell him like this. They'll call and they'll be like, oh, Matt, hey, man, you left the room. It's no big deal. No, just miscommunication. Just miscommunication, Bill. But you notice nobody's got on Mr. Hughes's comment and told him it's just a miscommunication. We left you out, just a miscommunication, So that's my gripe about Delaware County, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the constant problem out of the auditor's office. I'm tired of the constant problems from Jessica Piper. It's time to be done with all of that nonsense. Ed needs to not be an elected official. Jessica Piper needs to not be an elected official. And for the love of all that's holy, if there are going to be elected officials, they don't need even more important jobs as the elected officials. They need the most limited job possible. They shouldn't have important jobs. So, okay, that is that. All right. How do you like my excuses are like assholes? They're all elected to the county government. Did you like that? Hans is like a dog barking because the other dog barks but doesn't even know when he's barking. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on from there, we now go on to the very important, very, very important Henry County fiasco. Henry County Sproles Watch 2024, June edition. Okay, so for those of you that are here, we're going to finish this Henry County section up, and then we're going to go on to talk about Lieutenant Governor candidate Julie McGuire. So we've got those two things to talk about. We're going to finish this. So today was a Henry County Commissioners meeting. Started at 11 a.m. in the Henry County Commissioners courtroom. I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to tell you this. Today was the single craziest Sproles thing that's happened, in my opinion. And I'm going to explain to you why. What you're getting ready to watch here, please, if you know anyone that's interested in the Sproles stuff, this is the craziest Sproles stuff, period. And I'm going to explain to you why. So before we get started, it is important that you know a couple of small details. Henry County commissioners are in the process and have been in the process for over a year now of trying to switch over the system in which they monitor, keep track of, and run all of their employees in the county when they work, monitor their hours, their clock in, clock out, monitor the people who are salary, monitor overtime, monitor sick days, monitor vacation days, monitor, holiday time, sick time, overtime, all of that. And then it's the payroll system. Now, the auditor's office and the treasurer's office both together are, deal with all of this thing. The commissioner's office is involved, yada, yada, yada. And there are a lot of departments and sections to this. They're in the process of trying to get everybody over onto this system. Now, I don't know who's all watching currently. I don't know all your stories. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you're going. But it's safe to say a good majority of you out there, like myself, we have worked. We work now. We have worked. We will work at places, at some place in our life. Maybe some of you are retired. Maybe some of you are self-employed. Maybe some of you work for company. Maybe some of you work for the union. But all of us have dealt at one time or another with clocking in, clocking out, being salary, being overtime, sick time, things like that. Okay? Just common sense. I cannot tell you out of every place I have ever worked, I cannot tell you the name of the system used to monitor me being on the clock, or if I was sick, or my holiday time, or all of that. None of that mattered diddly dick to me. I work 8 hours, pay me for 8 hours. I work 40 hours a week, pay me 40 hours a week. I'm salary, pay me salary. I got 2 weeks paid vacation, give me 2 weeks paid vacation. I quit and you owe me 3 weeks of holiday time that I haven't taken, or 3 weeks of comp time. Take care of me on that. That is all anybody cares. You get paid every Friday, I expect a check in my hand or direct deposit. You get paid every other Wednesday, I expect a check in my hand or direct deposit. I cannot tell you. And if there's any of you out there, please tell me. Tell me, as long as you are not the supervisor, the boss, or the person endorsing the checks, please tell me if you gave a damn about the program that they used to track if you were working or not. Now, there might have been specific issues where you had problems, you felt they were ripping you off or something. Nobody cares about that crap. Nobody cares. Okay? But the folks in the sheriff's department, good Lord, they care. All right, they care. So for the last year, they've been trying to get Sproles to switch over from some system, ADP, to, and this has got the stupidest name in the world. The new system's called like The Right Stuff, or Just the Right Stuff, or You Got the Right Stuff, Baby. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's got a stupid name. I mean, I wouldn't like it just because of the stupid name, but we would move past that. Okay. So apparently, a couple of weeks ago, they're asking Sproles, dude, it's been a year and you're not getting on the program. What's it going to take? How much longer do you need? And Joel Wiley, he's the Sproles reader. He's the guy that knows how to read Sproles and talk to him. He's a coward, and he's the guy that's most friendly to Sproles. Okay. He contacted Sproles and said, hey, Sproles, can you tell me when you're going to get on the new system? To which, and here's the other important part that you need to know. There is a road in Henry County that is a county road. There's a county road. That county road, I'm not from Henry County, so I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. They're going to say it. It's between like Blue River Valley and the jail, and Henry County does not have control of that road. It is a county road, but the state has superseded and taken that road over. So the Department of Natural Resources and the state DOC have that road. Okay. And apparently the sheriff's department likes driving down it. Well, the state has blocked it off and they don't want anyone driving on it. But when the jail was being made, the county worked with them to open it up to allow them to take the equipment that they needed and the parts that they needed and the construction equipment to the jail easier. And the commissioners have said, well, we like to have it open. That way, if the sheriff's department need to use it to get from point A to point B because there's a train on the tracks or yada, 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 then they can get there quickly. But the bottom line is Sproles has been bitching because this road has a bunch of potholes in it. And Sproles doesn't like that the no, I don't think that's it. I think it's like I don't know if it's that road, is it? Because that's the road that gets to the jail. We all use the jail. There's the other road. It's like 230, I believe, or whatever. Anyways, I don't think that's lost in the weeds. The bottom line is he wants to know when the county's going to fix this road. Well, it's not the county's to fix. Okay. And so when Joel Wiley texted him, when are you going to get on this system a couple days or weeks ago? He said something to the effect of, well, when are they going to get 200 North fixed? And it's like, well, that's got nothing to do with anything. The road and when it is fixed or not fixed or whatever has nothing to do with what you're supposed to be doing as a member of county government. Okay? So they're coming in here and they're talking and they're going to discuss what's happening, and they're going to be voting on this resolution on what's needs to happen with this. So there's where we pick this up. Okay, here we go.
Of the ordinance number 2024-03-26 in parentheses 002. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Our next resolution is a resolution amending the pay schedule for Henry County employees.
Okay, before we read the ordinance, I want to go through a time frame of when we implemented Right Stuff and what has been transpiring. So we started Right Stuff in 2023. Actually, we approved it in 2022. We started implementation in 2023. All of the departments began to set it up and use it. Unfortunately, one department, the sheriff's department, refused to use it. Spoke to Joel Harvey regarding the options, and there were several options. One of them being amending the pay schedule, which at that point in time thought that was, and I think Commissioner Dellinger also talked to him about it, thought that was too harsh to move forward. So we had communicated that it was our policy, in our policy, that Right Stuff, or that every department was to use the official software or system. The sheriff questioned that because there wasn't an official ordinance. So we created and passed an ordinance naming Right Stuff the official timekeeping software. Still would not use this. Meeting was to take place with Steve Dellinger, Joel Harvey, Stephanie Whitehead, and the sheriff to discuss Right Stuff. I don't remember if it was the day of the meeting or the day before the meeting. Joel, you can remind me. Joel received a phone call from legal counsel that the sheriff had retained to fight using Right Stuff. That meeting could not take place because Joel Harvey could not meet with the sheriff because he would not have his legal counsel with him, and we could not meet with him or discuss any of this without his legal counsel present. Sometime later, I don't remember the time frame, Joel received a phone call from the sheriff's legal counsel stating that the sheriff would implement the Right Stuff system, and he listed the things that would need to be done. Right Stuff would need to help and come on board, work with them to get this set up. That was always in the plan to do. Nothing still took place. Then the matron was off work due to an accident, and the sheriff told Commissioner Wiley, when asked about implementing Right Stuff, that Commissioner Wiley was told he would need 3 weeks to implement this after the matron returned to work. The matron's been back to work full time for a couple months now. Still nothing has moved forward. The sheriff was asked this week about the status, and I believe his response, and Commissioner Wiley, you can confirm if this was his response. I will discuss Right Stuff when Road 200 North is repaired. Those things have nothing to do with the other, as we are not in control of 200 North. The commissioners pay for Right Stuff, and I believe the sheriff's department is independently paying for ADP. So it makes no sense to me why we would pay for 2 systems. We've been paying for Right Stuff for a year and a half now. The sheriff's department would have that amount of money to pay for some of the other things that they would use. So this is the time frame of how we have been trying to get everybody on the same page to use the same timekeeping software. Stephanie, I don't know if you want to speak to any of the difficulties that you have with having the two different pay period or paid structures. Could you have the microphone, please? There you go.
It just adds more work on me because I have to essentially do two different types of payroll in one setting, because right now, all the other departments that use Right Stuff, I can upload right into our payroll system. I have to manually do all of theirs. I have the ability, and I believe Debbie, to check everyone's time. So if anything comes into question, we can look at that. Not everyone can look at everyone's time, only supervisors and ourselves. And it just has caused the whole prolonged, it just puts more work on the whole payroll process. Because it also keeps everyone's time as well, their vacation and comp time and sick time, longevity. That helps us when employees retire, so we know what their payout is, and we have something to compare that to.
So we also got reprimanded from State Board of Accounts after the audit because not everyone was using the adopted timekeeping system, and it needed to be corrected because there was a lack of cooperation from the Sheriff's Department in getting the information. State Board of Accounts required to get this done. This has gone on for over a year now. This is ridiculous in my opinion, and it needs to be corrected. And that's the reason the ordinance is being introduced.
So you want to read it? Would you like to please read the ordinance?
The ordinance is a resolution amending the pay schedule for Henry County employees, whereas Indiana Code 36-2-8-2 provides that a county auditor and treasurer may pay county employees monthly, twice every month, every 2 weeks, or weekly, and that the manner of payment must be authorized by the county executive. And whereas Henry County has licensed the Right Stuff software for timekeeping and payroll purposes, and use of the Right Stuff software has substantially lessened the administrative burden on the auditor's office in the processing of payroll. And whereas in order to alleviate the burden on the auditor's office in the processing of payroll, the auditor and treasurer wish to amend the schedule for payroll to provide that employees and officials of those departments or offices utilizing the Right Stuff software will be paid every 2 weeks, and employees and officials of those departments or offices not using the Right Stuff software will be paid monthly. And whereas the Board of Commissioners approves the schedule for payment of wages described above, now therefore be it resolved, effective, there's a blank line, employees or officials in departments of officers utilizing Right Stuff software for timekeeping shall be paid every 2 weeks on the dates listed in the attachment Exhibit A. Point number 2, effective, and there's a blank line, employees or officials in departments or officers or offices that do not use Right Stuff software for timekeeping shall be paid monthly on the 15th day of each month. Effective date, this resolution shall be effective upon passage. Repealer, all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Any provision herein contained which is found by a court of competent jurisdiction to be unlawful, or which by operation of law shall be deemed unenforceable, shall be omitted, but the rest and remainder of this resolution, to the extent feasible, shall remain in full force and effect, adopted by the Board of Commissioners, and the dates have been left blank.
So a couple things. State statute says that the auditor and treasurer set the pay schedule that we approve. The auditor's office and the treasurer's office had nothing to do with this ordinance. It was coming from the commissioners. So anybody that's going after the auditor or the treasurer, please stop. because I know that she's already got some phone calls. So I ask that you please stop. Just a minute, just a minute. Number two, the date that is set is a date that says, the sheriff has says he needs 3 weeks to get it implemented. He said it multiple times that he needs 3 weeks to get it implemented. I am willing to do August the 1st, which is 6 weeks to get it implemented. Get the timekeeping software, double the time that you've requested, no problem whatsoever. Anybody else up here?
I just can't believe this has drug on for over a year. And this system was specifically designed, set up for law enforcement. That's where it came from. This is to keep track of everyone, because we had people, and this started out from an audit done at the highway department, that there were people who had been given vacation who weren't eligible and had left, and we paid out and weren't supposed to. People were taking sick days that they had not earned. Some were taking more than what they had. So this whole software system was designed, set up, and made sure that all these things and items are tracked not only for the benefit of the employees, but for the benefit of the county, because this is your taxpayer money that you're squandering away that we can't recover. And it's ridiculous. So now this is being done, this is being fixed, and whether you like it or not, the policy says whatever adopted software for payroll by the commissioners is the software that we use. We've been going on this for over a year trying to get this implemented. So I don't understand what the holdup is. I don't know why we're dragging our feet on it. Everyone else has done it, but one department. So enough's enough.
Sheriff?
Forgive me if I'm a little bit scattered here because we only had an hour and 40 minutes of heads up before the meeting time in regard to this. No conversation whatsoever in regard to changing about 80 employees' payroll from every other week to once a month. So about an hour and 40-minute heads up, knew nothing about it. So I'm going to be a little bit scattered and just bear with me, please. One thing that I want to point out, we are not, I know we keep talking about a department. We are not a department. We're the sheriff's office. And, you know, the time frame that was read off and the statements that have been made, they sound good, and they sound like, you know, boy, this sheriff, man, why is he being such a pain? One comment that is very much of interest is that we do pay for our own timekeeping software out of our commissary funds. Does not come out of our budget. It does not.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. I knew it
Yeah,
came out of commissary.
Let me talk here and without interruption, please. So as Commissioner Plummer said, it don't make sense at a glance of why would we want to pay for this? Hey, I would love to have $12,000 of extra commissary money per year in our account. So that would have to tell a reasonable person that there must be some reason that we're willing to pay $12,000 of our own funds, not taxpayer funds, for this software system. In fact, there are many reasons. And it's interesting, Commissioner Plummer
All right, everybody, turn your volume down. I'm not going to break into this very frequently because I don't want you to have to keep turning your audio up and down. So what I'm going to do, and I should have told you this beforehand, I'm going to let this play for as long as I possibly can and without jumping in. I will give you a warning if I have to jump in, but I've got to jump in here. First and foremost, Kate, do you know what happened to all the buttons down at the bottom?
The buttons at the bottom.
Yeah, you see where it says
Stop
solo
camera
layout?
settings. Huh?
Yeah. No. You see where it says solo layout?
Yeah,
Where's all the buttons?
they're all there for me.
Okay. All right. I don't see them. I only see one. That's weird. Okay,
You
whatever.
broke it.
No big deal. Not a big deal. All right, that's fine. As long as they're on your end, that's all that matters. Okay. So first and foremost, this fool did not have an hour to get ready for this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained. If John is scatterbrained, it's because he is scatterbrained. That's just how he is. Number two, he literally just said, we're paying with this with our own money, not taxpayer dollars. We're paying with this with our own money. What? You mean John Sproles, John and his Papua New Guinea wife is paying for this? You mean John Sproles and his sister Connie are paying for this? His daddy's paying for this? Yeah. No, they're not paying for this. Josh Smith isn't getting some change out of his pocket and paying. He means they're paying for this out of commissary. Now, did they just walk into the sheriff's department one day and say, we want commissary money? Pow! No. Citizens walked into the jail to put money on people's books that the inmates in the jail then use to pay for things. It's not, John, for the love of God, dude, come on, my man. You're an elected official. There is nothing that you have or do or anywhere around or part of or anything to do that is not taxpayer funded. This is not your house. This is not your church. This is not your funeral home. This is not the school. Okay? This is the Henry County, Indiana Sheriff's Department, where you have been serving as a public servant for the last 4 years, a piss poor public servant for the last 4 years. And for you to think that this is your money, you don't have any money when you're talking about anything in connection with your role as sheriff of Henry County. You need to get that through your thick skull.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So when they're doing the budget each year,
Mm-hmm.
they have an amount of money they expect the commissary to make, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the county that's the county's money. So the county actually creates a budget of what they're going to do with the expected commissary revenue, correct? Or is it just Sproles can, take his boys on vacation if he wants to?
Yeah, no, it's not like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's intended for specific purposes pertaining to the jail and the sheriff's department, correct?
Right.
Well, if you have restrictions on how money can be used, is it really your money?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazingly not. It is not her. Yeah, that's the thing. That's very bothersome. So I needed to break in and say that. I also want to say this because a couple people have said this, and we're getting ready to go back. We're getting ready to go back to the video, and I'm going to let you hear the rest of it. But a couple of you have said, why are all of the cops there? What's going on with all of the cops? So it's not a bunch of cops. It's not a lot of cops. It's a lot of corrections officers. So it might be hard for you to see. Okay, and I'm going to blow it up big for you to see here in a minute, but there are only, truthfully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6 actual police officers in the building. Everyone else in the building there are corrections officers, jailers, and or the door guards, the bailiffs, the security. Well, no. So again, keep in mind, I'm not saying these are not deputies. There are no deputies that are in there. There's the sheriff and the chief. There's the sheriff and the chief deputy. Yeah, I'm answering that question now. So are there any deputies on the road right now? Yeah, because there are no deputies in this room. There's the sheriff and the chief deputy. And then there are 2 or 3 detectives. And then the rest are the corrections officers. So the deputies are out doing their job. The deputies aren't here. It wouldn't be bad or hard for the deputies to swing through, I guess. I don't know why there are so many jailers here. That's probably one of my biggest gripes. Because here in just a little bit, you're going to see some absolutely, completely unprofessional behavior from these corrections officers. And I've got to say, none of these corrections officers, they probably can't spell ADP or just the right stuff. They don't care about any of that stuff. All they care about is getting paid. None of these people care about this. Sproles told these people, you're going to be here. You're going to back me up. And we're going to intimidate these people, and we're going to cause a scene, and we're going to make a stunt, and we're going to go in there in force and show them you can't mess with the sheriff's department. That's what this is. He is creating a bully culture. This is gross. And the mob mentality that he is creating. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you guys something. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what creates situations like George Floyd and things happen. When you have a meathead sergeant, a meathead lieutenant, a meathead captain, a meathead sheriff that's bullying up on people and teaching people that we don't take no crap off anybody, and this is what we do. We're the law, we're the biggest, the baddest, and it's our way or no way. Sometimes there's justice, and sometimes there's just us. This is how you create that chaos and craziness. And I'm telling you, we've seen it with Strelecki. We saw it. We saw it with Strelecki. They've already killed somebody. They've already killed somebody. You know, this is what we're seeing and what we're getting ready to witness them do here in just a minute. And listen, I got to say, I got a lot of respect for people of uniform, man. Look, Sproles is going to listen to this and be like, oh, he's sick. He's gross. He blah, blah, blah. Dude, get out of here. Let's be very clear. I've forgotten more about law enforcement than Sproles will ever know. All right? I'm going to put that out there and be real serious about it. So I just wanted to put that out there and say this is gross, and I want you to keep an eye on what these people in the back of the rooms are doing and understand that it's not really their fault. It's like mob mentality. He's training them to be this way, and it's really gross. They feel like kind of bullied into it. Some of them are new. They feel like, yeah, we got to do whatever our boss tells us to do. Some of them are just doing it because it's a paycheck. I don't want to go. They don't want to go against Sproles. All right, let's move on. I'm going to be quiet. Turn your volumes back up. When I go off screen, turn your volumes up, and I'm going to try to not interrupt. If you have any questions, write the questions in the comments and we will get to them, and I will come back here in just a bit. Okay. So here we go.
Just said, stop the phone calls or whatever. I don't know that, I know we got a phone call and you said, this has nothing to do. This is you all that wants this, not their office. Is that accurate?
Pardon me?
You said.
I said they did not do the ordinance. They did not request this ordinance.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, reading the ordinance, it says the auditor and.
Because by state statute.
I'm sorry.
Stop, John, for a second. Joel, could you please?
By state law, the auditor and treasurer have to set up a pay schedule that approved by the commissioner. So I think they have to at least be in agreement with what it is, even if they didn't originate the idea to change it. They have to at least be on board with it.
Well, I'm just simply reading the resolution. It says the auditor and treasurer wish to amend the schedule for payroll to provide that employees and officials in it of those departments. Again, we're in office. So I appreciate the statement, but it plainly says the auditor and treasurer wish to amend the schedule.
They did not request this ordinance. I'm
Okay.
making that very clear. I don't know how more clear to make it. They did not request the ordinance.
So what is the ultimate goal? I assume it's time saving for the auditor's office. Is that correct?
It makes processing payroll easy. It's time saving for the auditor and State Board of Accounts as well. We got our hands smacked in the State Board of Accounts in the audit that was done in 2023 because of not having the ease of getting some of the payroll records. You can shake your head no all you want to. I met with State Board of Accounts and so did Commissioner Dellinger.
I also met with them in regard to this specific thing. Commissioner Plummer, let me.
John, what we're going to end up doing is you're going to make a point, I'm going to make a point, you're going to make a point, and we could stand here for 3 hours to do this. This is why we are doing it. Move on. What's your next point?
Bob, that's why you lost the election right there. So
No,
just
stop.
yeah, just
Stop.
understand that.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put a date on this resolution. And Commissioner Plummer mentioned an effective date in August. Does that,
August 1st.
August 1st, does that time frame help? But we'll make the point here and we're going to move on. And I think we have talked about this for a long enough period of time based on the idea that I think the county is supposed to be operating under one timekeeping, and that's what I have been told.
Can I speak to that? So we got an attorney involved in regard to that specific thing. And in regard to the resolution that the sheriff's department has to use the timekeeping system.
Start over, Christopher. You're muted.
Okay. Sorry, I muted myself so I'd be quiet, even make sure I was quiet. So I apologize. I know I said I was not going to break back in, but I've got to be very I've got to be very clear about this. What? First of all, Sproles was being told there to stop the phone calls and all that crap to the auditor's office. I guess because he and his crew were calling and harassing them or bothering them or blaming this on them. What kind of thug mentality is going on there? What the hell? Gross. For Sproles to say what he said about that's the reason you lost the election to Bobbi, I don't. Yes, sir, Mr. Mark Nicholson. Absolutely. No question. No question. I've got to say, for Sproles to say what he said about that's the reason you lost, and then the deputies break in to a round of applause when he says that, I couldn't believe that. I could not believe, that's something that a real sheriff would jump.
The auditor and treasurer wish to
would jump on them
schedule
about.
for payroll.
He
to
wants
provide
them to do
employees and
that.
Officials of those departments, again, were in office. So I appreciate the.
He was waiting for a chance to say that and told them
Yes.
to be waiting for
Auditor
it too.
treasurer wish
Yes.
to amend the schedule
They did not request this.
Yeah.
year in our account. So
Yeah.
that would have to tell a reasonable person.
He's
that
been
there
waiting for
must
that.
be some
And
reason that
listen,
we're willing to pay $12,000 of our own funds
he's been
not
wanting to
taxpayer
do
funds
that
for this
since the
softball
election.
system.
And I'm sure he'll continue saying it.
In fact,
It's like a
there are
little
many
apple
reasons.
juice thing that they've got.
And it's interesting. Commissioner
He's
Plummer
had,
just
he's
said,
got,
"Stop the
he says
phone
it
calls,"
down
or
there next
whatever. I
to
don't know
him.
that-
Yeah.
I know we
Like
got
a little
phone
bottle
call
of
and he said,
water.
"This has nothing to do. This is you all that wants this, not their office." Is that accurate?
Pardon me?
You said.
I said they did not do the ordinance. They did not request this ordinance.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, reading the ordinance, it says the auditor and.
Because by state statute.
sorry.
but Stop, John, for a second. Joel, could you please?
Okay. Now,
By state law.
and
the
you don't have to
auditor
worry
treasurer
about trying to
has
turn up, turn down to listen. I just want to set through this
They have to at least
when they
be
clap
on board,
here.
even if they didn't originate the idea to change it, they have to at least be on board with it.
Well, I'm just simply reading the resolution that says the auditor and treasurer wish to amend the schedule for payroll.
It's like he
to
doesn't
provide
know
them
that
for
there
that.
are protocols to be put in place. Like he doesn't comprehend that kind of he doesn't comprehend that has to happen. My question is, let me see here. Who paid people? A bunch of people are asking who paid for their attorney. I'm going back here in my notes. Give me 1 second here.
We're in office, so I appreciate the statement, but it plainly says the auditor and treasurer wish to amend the schedule.
If they did not request this ordinance. I'm making that very clear. I don't know how more clear to make it. They did not request the ordinance.
So what is the ultimate goal? I assume it's time saving for the auditor's office. Is that correct?
It makes processing payroll easy. It's time saving for the auditor and State Board of Accounts as well. We got our hands smacked in the State Board of Accounts in the audit that was done in 2023.
So this is the same thing that's been going on in the city of Muncie, right? So the commissioners kind of gets, the county rather gets a bad mark from the State Board of Accounts, and they've got to take what John doesn't understand is that, John thinks he's the end all be all with the law. He pins a little star on his chest because 9,000 people out of 43,000 voted for him. And he thinks that makes him like, he's, the end all be all for the law. And that's not exactly the case, And he also has to follow law himself. He's not above the law. He's not like, he doesn't operate outside of the law. So it's really insane that he does any of this. But I'm also saying that for those that want to know about the attorney, the commissioners did not pay for the attorney. So any attorney that's been paid to fight any of this would have been paid by the sheriff, maybe out of their budget somehow, some kind of budget line item in which they would be free to do that, maybe out of commissary or something else, so that's something that we'll have to find. We'll have to issue a records request to get to the bottom of, to find out how much it was and who it was, how much they paid, and where that fund came from. We'll have to issue a records request, but
It still comes down to the taxpayers.
yeah, the taxpayers funded it. So Sproles might not understand that, but we all do.
The ease of getting some of the payroll records. You can shake your head no all you want to. I met with State Board of Accounts and so did Commissioner Dellinger.
I also met with him in regard to this specific thing. Commissioner Plummer, let me.
John, what we're going to end up doing is you're going to make a point, I'm going to make a point, you're going to make a point, and we could stand here for 3 hours to do this. This is why we are.
I want to make sure everyone understands this. And we're going to see it here in a bit because Steve starts taking over and Steve kind of gets hairy with him. But notice something. Notice every time Steve talks to him. Notice every time that Steve pushes back against this small-brained imbecile. He says, yes, sir, or whatever, yes, or whatever. He doesn't say anything crazy. Notice he only treats Bobbi that way. Now, look, I've been toe-to-toe against Bobbi Plummer. I think she is a formidable person. I think I would probably have to shoot Steve Dellinger. I think he's a badass. I'm not going to get in a fight with him. He would probably beat my ass. It's going to take me and about 5 other people. But look, I don't consider Bobbi Plummer any different. I think she'd probably hurt me more than Steve would. Bobbi and Steve are both formidable people. But what I notice here is, because this is how Sproles thinks. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm not going to shoot Dellinger, so just FYI. I mean, I'm paying him some respect and saying that I know he's a badass. I know he's tough. I know Bobbi's tough. That's what I'm saying. But John, seeing things the way he does, he sees her as a woman, and he can treat her less, and he can treat her as less than. And that's why I like that Bobbi gives it right back to him. Absolutely. Absolutely, Brenda Greider. He cannot stand that a woman has authority, and it's someone that Bobbi's not afraid of him. Bobbi doesn't kowtow to him. Bobbi doesn't bow down. And let me tell you, Susan is going to be like, oh, yes, John. Oh, yeah. She's going to be subservient Susan. That's what that is. Subservient Sproles, Susan, we'll come up with the alliteration and everything on there. Steve should run against him for sheriff in 26. Listen to me. I would be Steve's. I could help Steve. Dude, that is an amazing, amazing idea, Joe. Because I got to be honest. I am somebody that does not agree with the whole aspect of the constitutional aspect of sheriff. I don't like that just anybody could run. I think that you should have law enforcement experience. But Henry County's just the right type of county that it might work. And Dellinger is just the right kind of person that could possibly work. That would be badass. And I think that Dellinger could probably beat Sproles. That would be hilarious. I love it. All right, let's go on. I want to get through this. This is very important. So because it gets crazy, folks.
Doing it. Move on. What's your next point?
Bob, that's why you lost the election right there. So
No,
just
stop.
yeah, just
Stop.
understand that.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put a date on this resolution. And Commissioner Plummer mentioned an effective date in August. Does that,
August 1st.
August 1st, does that time frame help? But we'll make the point here, and we're gonna move on. And I think we have talked about this for a long enough period of time based on the idea that I think the county is supposed to be operating under one timekeeping, and that's what I have been told.
Can I speak to that? So we got an attorney involved in regard to that specific thing. And in regard to the resolution that the sheriff's department has to use the timekeeping system, the timekeeping software that the commissioners say. That the reason we got an attorney involved was specifically that. And the reason that this didn't go any further is because I believe the county was fully aware after our attorney got involved that the sheriff's office does not have to use whatever payroll system the commissioners say. They simply have to abide by the State Board of Accounts requirements for timekeeping. So that's an important point because that was kind of glossed over. That is the reason I think pretty clearly that now we're taking, trying to figure what are the other legal steps because that first one didn't fly. So I would appreciate getting to express the reasons that we have not switched over. So we attempted to switch over, approximately a 3-month time span that the sheriff's office did the right stuff payroll as a trial run. And there were so many issues with it. We counted up our time. We had invested 200 man hours in our supervisors trying to implement the right stuff. And I have heard this is made for law enforcement. I have heard that over and over. It's interesting to note there are only 2 counties, 2 sheriff's offices out of the entire state that use the right stuff. That's 92. So there's 90 counties that do not use the right stuff. The sheriff's offices that use it don't even have the same setup. We're a 12-hour work day. The other offices, they are an 8-hour. So there are many, many reasons why we have not implemented this.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Or something you said. So you said you've worked 200 hours, so everybody's logged in, created their user IDs, went into the right stuff, done all of that within right stuff itself, within the software? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that our brass, our supervisors, have spent over 200 hours collectively trying to implement right stuff.
Within the software itself? Trying to implement right stuff software by logging into the software, setting up, training employees, setting up test employees, whether it's in the jail or in the sheriff's office.
Talking about 200 man hours, which would include meetings, which would include meeting officers to try to explain how it sets up. We had Zoom meetings. And I called the lady at Right Stuff, very nice lady. I called her not too long ago because it has been my intent to try to make this work. Again, we tried for 3 months. It cost so much time and there were so many glitches in the system for the sheriff's office sake that it just became, it was just impossible. And the Right Stuff, their IT people said, hey, look, we can design this any way that you need it. We just need you to tell us what you need and how you need. And my response to that is, we are not timekeeping software designers. We don't have time to we have a program, ADP, which is a much larger, nationally recognized timekeeping program that we have used for years. And so if it is simply, and I understand that it is simply, if it's simply for saving time, so I assume switching I guess the offset to this is if we switch to once a month, paying our employees once a month, that saves a large amount of time. Is that accurate?
Oh, you said you weren't listening to me?
Our payroll lady is not even listening when we're having a discussion about payroll.
Well, because this has nothing to do with her.
I'm
This
sorry.
ordinance has nothing to do with her day-to-day work. For what we're deciding right here, what we are deciding right here, she doesn't have to be in the conversation.
Oh,
Guys,
this seems to be only about payroll, but so I guess that question then I can direct at you all is why are we switching to only being paid once a month? What is the reasoning for that?
it will save time. It will make it easier. You guys don't understand what goes on up here.
Okay. So let me speak to that. I get it will save time. I have how many supervisors that have to deal with this? So who's do we put a higher priority on, let's say, the auditor time? Who cares about our staff and our supervisors who have to put in enormous amounts of hours? So where does that balance come in at? So I want to go back to the point of if we're switching to 1 month simply to save time, and that is the ultimate goal, and I understand that it would save time, why would the entire county not switch over?
They are over on right. Everybody is on right stuff.
I'm asking if
Because
saving,
right stuff, she does not have to input anything into right stuff. She does not have to go through everything from the transmittals and from ADP. They clock in, they clock out. It just does not take the amount of time. Can we move on?
well, so let me talk about a couple more things here.
Can we move on?
John, this wasn't done just for a time savings as far as for the auditor's office.
Okay.
The reason that I was on board with us switching to Right Stuff, as I said a minute ago, there was an audit done through the highway department. And it'd been going on for years and nobody caught it. That we were paying people for hours they didn't get. We were paying people who had left for hours that they had already used. It caused vacation mess ups because people were getting, instead of getting 1 week's vacation, they were taking 2 and 3 and were being approved. This took the headache off the department heads of trying to track who was taking what, when, and where, because Right Stuff automatically tracks everyone's vacation, everyone's comp time, everyone's sick days. All that stuff is automatically done and taken care of. This takes the headache away from department heads and supervisors. This way it takes the argument away from employees who said, oh, I didn't take that day off. Yes, you did. Right here it is. This is the day you took it. It made everything simplified so that when people did leave, the county wasn't paying 2 and 3 and 4 weeks of either vacation or sick time that someone wasn't entitled to. Or if they quit, left, and it was finally figured out that it was done, we couldn't recoup that money that was county money that was basically taken. This was supposed to clean all this up. This was the reason Right Stuff was done, was to correct all these issues. Everyone else in the county had a lot of the same glitches and things, and it wasn't even set up for their way they paid out is slightly different than your guys's. Right Stuff said they would work with you guys to make sure that everything was addressed. All we asked was for some cooperation to see if this was going to work. It's drug on for over a year and nothing has been done. That's where my frustration level comes in.
So
Do I want to change how you guys get paid? No.
Okay, then you have the option to vote no to this resolution. Now,
I do,
let
but
me-
I want this
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
Because it needs to be taken care of. It's been going on for over a year.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, or let me just say this. All of those things that you mentioned, that Right Stuff tracks vacation, it tracks this and that. Do you think that ADP does not track that?
Apparently it wasn't doing it accurately enough, and that was what we got reprimanded by State Board of Accounts for, was because they couldn't get the information from ADP through your department, and lack of cooperation was why we got our hands smacked.
From my administration?
You know what?
Yes.
I'm just going to make the motion that you have till August the 1st to implement Right Stuff.
So you're
of
not going to let us,
2024.
you're not going to let us talk about the issues.
I
You're
think that this,
holding-
I think that this is just going to descend into an argument back and forth. So I'm going to make the motion.
Well,
August
you
the
have the
1st,
option to
2024,
not argue back and forth. I have a few things that I would like to say.
effective-
I want our taxpayers and our citizens to understand something very, very clearly. You just expressed it. Oh, I don't want to do this, and it's not really just the time savings. This is targeting our office.
I'd have done it to any other department.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, please allow me to state a train of thought, okay? So you are holding all of these people hostage because you say that the Right Stuff is the perfect tracker. ADP, you can have errors in inputting in the Right Stuff.
We can have errors every day when we get out of bed, John, but we can argue this back and forth until the cows come home, and it's not going to change a stinking thing.
Okay.
We are not
Bottom line
holding you
is-
hostage.
I'm sorry?
You have 6 weeks to implement that. If you choose not to do it, you are holding them hostage. We are giving
I
you
was gonna
6
say, this
weeks.
has been
We'll
going on
fi-
for over a year, so who's
Well,
holding?
we
who?
will file an injunction on it.
You
if that's
go
the
right
way- yeah.
ahead.
Well, we
So
did
the-
it last time.
Go right ahead.
Well-
I'm going to make the motion August the 1st, 2024. For those not using, the effective date of those using, I will use today's date because they are still on the Right Stuff software.
And I want to say one more thing. I want to remind Commissioner Dellinger that he doesn't want to do this. But I want to say one more thing that you read off, and I want to get my phone because I want to read the other part of that response about the road you gave a piece of
Well,
that.
that's the only thing that he said to me. This is what I read to you is what he, or
Okay.
said to you is what he
So-
said to me.
Yep, so without reading it, I have been hounded about Right Stuff, Right Stuff, Right Stuff. The other day, I proactively texted Commissioner Wiley about County Road 200 North having potholes big enough to eat a vehicle. I know you say that you don't have anything to do with it. However, you told a lady the other day, like 8 weeks ago, that it will be fixed in 2 weeks.
I said, we are weeks away and DNR is still dragging their feet. I cannot control DNR.
DNR
Corey Criswell
Hey,
made.
John.
Can I please finish?
John, can I say something to
Yes,
that
sir.
real quick? DNR and DOC want that road closed back down. They do not want you using it. They don't want us using it. They want it shut down. So they are dragging their feet at this point because they don't want it used. The agreement between DNR and Department of Corrections is responsible for the maintenance on that road from Blue River to 103. So in legal terms, so to speak, and Joel, you can correct me if I'm wrong,
I want to say this really quickly. The reason that Dellinger said it wasn't that he said he didn't want to do this. What he said was, I don't want to cause you guys any issues. I don't want to change up your pay. Basically, he was saying, I'm not doing this just to hurt you. He was saying that. He was saying, I'm not trying, I don't want to, it's the point of this is, John thinks that everything that happens is he's targeted. Everything that Sproles says, he's targeted. Everyone's after him. Everything's happening to him because it's because he's the sheriff and they just don't like him. What people don't realize is this man has made everything a living hell. There are so many things that he has stopped doing simply because he can't figure it out. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't understand. And the problem is he's not a law enforcement officer. He spent no time as a police officer, a peacekeeper, whatever you want to call it. He does not have time on the road, does not understand the job, and he became the head of the department way too damn fast. And he does not understand that now as sheriff, he is supposed to be a public official, a public servant, an elected official, a delegator, someone who's supposed to be able to communicate, someone who's supposed to be able to fix problems, and an administrator. He does not want to do that. He's out here playing cops and robbers, shoot 'em up, bang, bang. And he doesn't want to do all of the things that an actual administrator needs to do. The things that the people of Henry County has thought they were electing him to do, he doesn't want to do them. He wants to go out here and rappel down mountains and save all, see all the dead bodies and solve all the crimes and arrest all the black people or whatever he's doing, so he can be friends with them all and take pictures with them and baptize them. But he doesn't want to be an administrator of the sheriff's department, and that's a problem. We're almost done here. We're wrapping up. There's only 4 minutes left. We'll get through here. The states kept the
Do you plan on sharing that? Is it playing?
Oh, yes. Is it not? Sorry.
It's not on the screen, dear.
Yeah.
So again, in closing,
Please don't.
so in closing, I want to remind our taxpayers and our citizens of this. We pay for our own software. It is approved by the State Board of Accounts. And I was told, and I think I've got it in an email somewhere, that I was told that the State Board of Accounts will only approve the right stuff. And that's where legal action came into play.
I don't know where that statement came from.
Well, it came from you, Commissioner Plummer.
I
so-
don't think it did.
Good, all right. So, and there are many other reasons.
I have
Obviously,
not
we're not going to have
communicated with
time
State
to.
Board of Accounts regarding right stuff through this process.
There are many other reasons that we have not switched to the right stuff. We have undercover officers. We have drug task force officers that log in and log out.
Okay.
We don't want information out when exactly are they working. Not that I distrust them. I don't have a lot of confidence there, but
Excuse,
yeah, let me touch on that. I have many, and I'm speaking specifically to the interaction from the auditor's office with me. I have many screenshots of your deputy auditor loving the most nasty, hateful, threatening comments. It would be shocking. If I put them up on the screen, our taxpayers would absolutely.
Well, their private time is their own business.
Well, there is
Okay,
a
we need
level.
to, we have a
please.
motion on the
we
floor,
have a motion on
and
the
I'm
floor.
going to proceed with this motion on the floor. Thank you, Sheriff, for your comments. The motion would be
Okay, for the record, what he's talking about there, ladies and gentlemen, is again, he's talking about people in his office. Okay, the people in these other county offices, they see what an absolute shit show Sproles is. He is not liked by anyone in the county. He treats them all crappy. He makes them think that he and his department is more important than anything else that goes on. They all watch this show. They all see what goes on. They know what happens. Okay? He's mad that there are people in the county that engage with yours truly. There are people in the county that doesn't like what he does and might like a comment, like a show, watch a show. They might not like the fact that his sister calls the people of Henry County trash. And so when we call out his sister and we call them Jamie and Cersei Lannister, you might get a laughing emoji from, an EMS personnel or a person working on the county highway or, it's some person working as a clerk in some office. John treats everybody like trash. He treats everybody like they're underneath him. He treats everybody like shit. He treats everybody like he just treated Bobbi in here. And so, that's what he was just referring to. I am so happy that I am living in this man's head. And he's got screenshots that he wanted to post of these people liking, Sproles, the S word video or, whatever. Well, it's like, good Lord, man. So, all right, basically what happens here is he sets down the commissioners vote to pass this, and it is they give him until August the 31st
jurisdiction to be unlawful or which by operation of law. I was saying aye.
Aye.
to switch.
Opposed, aye. Motion passes 2-1.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
Now
to
they adjourn. Now this is the very last thing that happens. Listen,
adjourn. Second.
So moved.
some of his staff up in here start arguing with people in the auditor's office. Watch. Listen.
I just wish there was.
Whoa, Stephanie had nothing to do with this. Nothing.
All right. And so I'm going to tell you basically what happened there. One of the people that was there in his mob mentality, I talked to people that were in the audience and a couple sources that were there in the audience that knew what was happening. And someone says something to the effect of, because you guys are doing this, I'm going to lose my kids or something. And they start bad mouthing somebody that's got nothing to do with this. And so the auditor there, the lady in the pink, said, whoa, she's got nothing to do with it. It's this mob mentality that he's creating, man. So this face-off that we're seeing between him and Bobbi and him and Steve Dellinger, and the fact that Joel Wiley, man, is just in there. The vote came down to a 2-1 vote. The vote for this was a 2-1 vote. The vote was, why did the commissioners who said he wanted this done vote against the ordinance? He didn't. So the vote was Dellinger voted in favor of it, Bobbi voted in favor of it, and Joel Wiley voted against it. And the reason that Joel Wiley voted against it was because he is Sproles' fanboy. And I'm telling you, Henry County, I told you before the election, you're there now. Folks, you're in a world of hurt. Next year, when Susan comes in to the commissioner's office, we're going to have a situation where it's going to be a 2-1 vote the opposite way. Dellinger is going to be the odd man out, and it's going to be Sproles' time. Next year is going to be a shit show in Henry County. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Okay, the last thing that we need to talk about tonight is this situation with the candidate for the lieutenant governor spot. Okay. The candidate for the lieutenant governor spot, absolutely sad. Julie McGuire. Okay. Now, if you've been following what's been going on, Julie was tapped to be the lieutenant governor candidate by Mike Braun. Julie McGuire is currently the state representative in District 93. In 2022, the Indiana Republican Party, the HRCC, threw roughly $500,000, $600,000 at her to beat the incumbent. She was not the incumbent. She was a new candidate running. Okay. So let's just be very clear. The Republican Party does not throw $600,000 at a candidate in a 3-month period to beat another Republican in the primary if the candidate that they're throwing that money behind is not part of the establishment. Okay. That's just insane to think otherwise. That does not happen. Okay. Julie's been the candidate. This Saturday, delegates are supposed to pick. Now, I've got to say, in the last couple of days, Julie has appeared a couple places. And they were supposed to, she appeared at one location, and it was open to the public. They were allowing anybody to come in. And I've got to say, I'm really disappointed because, well, let's just do it this way. Last night, tonight's Wednesday. Yes, last night, there is another podcast that comes on 9 o'clock on Tuesday. I've been on the show. It's called the Mouthwash Talk Show. And we have some crossover viewers. All right. I have no ill will toward the Mouthwash Talk Show. I will tell you right now, though, they're too soft. Bottom line, they're too soft. They are very similar to what the Boss Hogs of Liberty are like in Henry County. They are not interested in pushing out a political agenda. They're more interested in just having people coming on and making some jokes and doing just bare minimum surface level stuff. All right. So I was actually really shocked because this week they've been pushing that Julie McGuire was coming on. They said that Julie McGuire was going to come on to the show. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Rob Kendall and his people, they've been calling her Walter. Walter is the puppet that one comedian has. There's the comedian that has the puppet, Walter, the old man. And the reason they call her Walter is because obviously that puppet, hold on. The Walter candidate, the Walter creature can't talk until the comedian sticks his hand up his backside and makes him talk. So Rob Kendall's been calling Julie McGuire Walter because Julie cannot go anywhere without Mike Braun. She cannot go out and talk to people. They are only sending her to places where the delegates know they cannot ask questions, and they've got to be very polite. Well, she was supposed to be going on this mouthwash show. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? Not appearing, Julie McGuire. So they had said she was going to appear, and then they're like, okay, she's not appearing. She's not appearing. Now listen.
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And we're going to have a really fun show tonight. I mean, it's going to be interesting, as you saw on the preview. I just got late word tonight. I've been asking Julie McGuire for like 3 or 4 weeks about coming on our show, and no response. And finally, I just kept bugging her, and then I got a response of, well, I got to check with my campaign people. And then so tonight, their campaign guy called me and said, oh, we never committed to it. I said, well, I know you didn't, but this is me as a promoter. I'm trying to promote that. So this is in no way her issue. I think she wanted to appear, but I just don't think her people were going to let her.
What, John? Come on, John. Come on, John. Come on, John. What? I don't think her people are going to let her. All right. So back up. Back up. One of two things happened. Either because he said, and it's not her fault, it's my fault. She never agreed to it. I was promoting it, but she didn't really. So either she never agreed to it, which in my opinion is a problem because she's a candidate wanting to be lieutenant governor, so she should be appearing everywhere. She should want to come onto mine. I've reached out to her. She would not respond. He's saying he reached out to her, reach out. She'd never say it. And then finally her people said, well, we didn't agree to that. Now I have a problem with what he said right there. All right. I've got a problem with what he said there. He says, well, it's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's her people's fault. Screw that. Screw that. Okay. If she has people in her campaign that won't let her on, then she's not the candidate that I want to be anybody. If she's the candidate and she can't decide for herself where she's going to go and what she's going to do, and if she can't answer the questions, then she's not the candidate that I want. Screw that. All right? No way. No way. All right? She does not get a pass. Come on, John. She does not get a pass for that. Dude,
He would not have advertised that she was coming on unless he had pretty good indication that that was the fact.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, he made a whole video about the fact that she was going to be on. You don't go to that time unless you've got some kind of
yeah, right.
Nearly a guarantee that it's going to happen.
Yeah. So then them pulling out of this in the end, so them pulling out of this at the end is bullshit, and John needed to call that out. We don't want to do anything that helps her possibly skate. All right. So I want and look, I'm not knocking on John. I kind of am. John, I love you to death. Love everything. Love the positivity. But sometime, bro, we got to call a spade a spade. We got to call an apple an apple. We got to call a shitty candidate a shitty candidate. All right.
In fact, hey, tomorrow, if you listen to the Rob Kendall show, I'm gonna do a little recording with him tomorrow to talk.
All right, he's getting ready. He's gonna go talk on Rob Kendall's show. Now, this was last night, so he's talking about today. We're gonna listen to the Rob Kendall show here in a minute, and that thing bothers me as well. We're gonna listen to that here in a second.
Talk about it because I went to an event with her tonight, another one, and we were going to ask questions, and Rob had given me some questions, and
so. John went to an event with this woman last night, and Rob had said, hey, you're going? Here's some questions. Ask her. Listen.
Spiro, one of our loyal viewers here, printed them out, and I actually gave them to her because I couldn't do it. I'm not as mean as Rob Kendall. I couldn't read all those questions and ask her that. Plus,
I'm not as mean as Rob Kendall. I couldn't ask her those questions, so I gave them to her. What does that mean? Why is it mean to ask a candidate legitimate, serious questions? What is wrong with saying, hey, you want to be the lieutenant governor of my state? You have some questions. I've got some questions. You want to be the person in charge? I want to ask you some serious questions. Why is that a problem? This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm okay being the asshole. If I would have known where she was going to be at that night, I would have been there. Rob Kendall knows he could have gave me those questions. By God, I would have asked her those questions. I'm not playing around. I'm not going to slide them to her, and be like, hey, read that, No. I want to know the same questions. Okay. Let's listen. Okay. Let's continue on.
I didn't get my question until the very end. So, it's like, yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to be recording we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Rob Kendall's going to play it on his show. Later on, I think we're recording it at 8:30. So it's going to be interesting. But she would not be here tonight.
So she's not coming on, and they're going to give her a little bit of a pass, yada, yada, yada. No pass. She gets no pass. Bullshit. I'm not into that. I don't like that situation. I don't think that that's cool. I don't think that that's good. And I am not okay. I am not okay with that. So he goes on the rest of the show, and they basically give her excuse after excuse. And it's like, I'm not okay with that. Okay. Now let's go to the Kendall and Casey show, where they had John on, and they talked about what happened at the event last night, which I think, instead of having all that chaos on last night and Mark Smalltalk talking about religion and all that, what they should have talked about this. This is serious. The delegates are going to be voting on this on Saturday, just in a couple days. Okay, so let's let me find out where that's at here. Let me find out where this is at here. Okay. Let me find. Let me see. Okay. Here we go.
But these are two different things. Is one
There's
art,
variations.
some people call it art, right? I mean, I think it's that on people who had the audacity to say, we'd like to film you so we know what your views are on anything. Jennifer Pace, thank you. Yes, boy, so many names.
Okay, here we go.
But these are two different things. Is one
There's
art,
variations.
some people call it art, right? I mean, I think it's a bad law. I think it's a bad thing to go down. I think it's parents' job to parent their kids, and I think again, it's government trying to step in and be the parent.
All right, we've got a guest joining us next.
All right, so John Schmitz is going to join us. He is running in that caucus to replace Julie.
Let's listen.
To replace Jennifer Pace. Thank you. Yes, boy, so many names running together. She is, of course, the lady who passed away
in the 7th district.
Right.
Yep.
Smoked the pants off Gabe Whitley, even though she was deceased. And now there's a caucus to replace her. John is running in that. He's run for state house before. He's about as solid a Republican as you're going to find. And he went to this event for Walter last night, Julie McGuire, Mike Braun's puppet, and they put the kibosh like that on people who had the audacity to say, we'd like to film you so we know what your views are on anything. And he's going to give us a full breakdown of old Walter not wanting anybody to film her.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Okay, so we heard the setup there. Essentially what's happening is we hear that they went to an event and they didn't record her. I was talking to Rob. I was like, dude, I would have recorded her in a second. They would have had to throw me out of there. You know, we appear on the Rob Kendall show maybe once a quarter. We go down, we have something to talk about. We go down and talk about that. Rob knows that I'm not afraid to push the envelope here. So I said, wait a minute. We got to get past this. When you need some shit like that going on from now on, don't call out the JV team, bro. You gotta go straight to the big boys. You know that I'm not gonna cower with that. So now let's listen to what goes on here in this interview. This is big. I gotta not play the music. Stand by. Here we go. As soon as the music's off.
It instills confidence in people in an elected official, like not letting them film or hold you accountable in any shape, form, or fashion.
It's interesting. She doesn't claim to be establishment, but she's hanging out with all the establishment people.
Remember, we had this little problem with old Duke of Spendingburg, Todd Young. Remember when I went to that event?
I do remember that.
And now it appears old Walter, the puppet, Julie McGuire, Mike Braun's puppet, she has gone to the Duke of Spendingburg School of Anti-Transparency because last night she had an event in Indianapolis, is my understanding, and it was a public event. It wasn't like some swanky closed door thing. It was the public is invited to come.
Public event.
And a bunch of people went and tried to ask questions, and they said, hey, let's film this so we can find out where our maybe future lieutenant governor is. And they got shut down.
No go, no filming.
So like I said, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's find out what happened last night. That's a red flag, right? If you're an elected, which she isn't elected a person, even if she doesn't win the lieutenant governor, and you're not letting people film you, that is a red flag. So I found somebody who was at the event last night.
Okay.
Our old pal John Schmitz. He's currently running for that seat in the 7th Congressional District Republican seat. That is the one that Gabe Whitley got dead last in.
Yeah.
When he got smoked by the deceased person.
I'm wondering if John's going to try and ask for my vote.
Well, they've got to have. He doesn't have to yet. It's a special caucus. He's got to get through first. John joins us now on the WIBC hotline. All right, John. So you were at that event for Julie McGuire last night, and is that right? They said they put the kibosh on any sort of filming or transparency.
Yes, you are correct. That is what happened.
Did they give a reason? Like, did people pull out their phones and there was like armed guards corralling people? What took place?
No, it was very short and direct. That we don't do that to our speakers here. So I think it was a general policy of what's going on. But I don't know. When I go speak somewhere, I almost want them to record.
We don't do that to our speakers, so I think it was a direct policy to what's going on. So to me, what that lets me know is nobody came up and told him, hey, you can't record. They said that ahead of time, so no one just pushed the envelope. Man, I'm telling you, I'm pissed off because if I would have known this was going on, I would have been there and I would have recorded and I would have asked the damn questions. So I'm disappointed, and that's my loss. I should have known about this. I would have been there because I would have definitely pushed this situation. All right, let's continue on.
Record this. I need the extra help. But in this case, no.
John, set the scene for us. What was the atmosphere in the room like? How many people were there?
There was probably about 25 people were there. There was not very many delegates. There is some very new delegates that were there. First time probably hearing her speak. And, she's very polished. She's been doing this for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever now. And, and she did have a list. So, Rob, your questions that you gave me to ask, I basically just went up and handed them to her while at the very end, because they ran out of time. And I said, hey, here's some questions from Rob Kenneth. And you could have seen the look on her face because I stood up and walked there in front of everybody. And I said, here's some questions. And the look on her face was like, I saw a ghost. Ringo in the Tombstone video.
John Schmitz is our guest. Do we know her position on anything like property taxes? Do we know?
No.
There was a brochure that they were handing out, and I'm just remiss in not getting that. I could probably get it from someone that has all of their agenda on there, but it seems like it's just broad, just broad things. It's not anything. And then when I did talk to Mike Braun about the property taxes, he indicated that he was more interested in possibly income tax being doing something with that. But her answer with that was, well, that's basically a local issue. We don't really. So, very broad answer.
So this is what, Casey, what is the least favorite part of this show for me?
When you're right.
Yes.
And I tell people you're right.
Look, again, we can't make it any clearer for you. If Mike Braun goes there with her for 4 years, you will get nothing on property taxes because that is the Republican talk.
Nothing.
John, you have been involved in local politics. You've been a precinct committeeman. You've run for state house. You're running for Congress now. You're very entrenched in the Republican Party. Why are the Republicans so afraid to do anything on property taxes?
You got me. I mean, Mike Young has he's working on a bill, a new and improved 2.0 bill that he had out last time that is supposed to,
Yeah, Janet, I would have been there in a second.
Senator. He's not one that just comes up with these flaky bills. He does a lot of research. He's just a smart guy. And I asked about that. I said, well, are you going to support that? And they were like, well, there's other people out there having things and whatnot. And so to me, they just really don't have a plan. Julie basically admitted she just wants to get through this Saturday, and then we'll see what we're going to do.
She just wants to get through Saturday, then we'll know.
See what's in it.
John,
that's the impression I got.
I really appreciate you going last night. I appreciate you handing her those questions on my behalf. I appreciate you trying to film, even though you were told somebody wants to be lieutenant governor. You can't film that person. And real quick, before I let you go, you're running in that caucus next Saturday. Is that right?
All right, enough of that. So he's running, he's a candidate, blah, blah, blah. Good, whatever. It's a candidate in a caucus. So we don't get a pick. They'll vote on. So I got to tell you this, folks. Micah Beckwith. There are issues I have with Micah Beckwith. I have issues with Micah Beckwith, some issues. But when the options are Saturday, Micah Beckwith or Julie McGuire, it's Micah Beckwith all the way, period. Send her back to the Republicans that wanted to buy her and for $600,000. Do not let their $600,000 be for nothing. I am asking, I am begging, I am telling all delegates I know. And let me tell you what's gonna piss me off. We're not gonna have the delegates it's gonna take. That's what's sad. That's what pisses me off. Delegates gonna go there and they're gonna kowtow to this, and it'll be her. And that pisses me off. It needs to be Micah Beckwith. All right. Now people can say, how are you saying that? Aren't you for Donald Rainwater? Well, yeah, I am. I am pushing Donald Rainwater. But I also care about what goes on in all these other races. I want to know, and I want to set all of this stuff up. And at the end of the day, when I go in and I cast my vote for Donald Rainwater, and idiots out there don't cast a vote for Ronald Rainwater, and they vote for Mike Braun and his running mate, I want his running mate to be Micah Beckwith. If someone's going to beat Donald Rainwater, I don't want it to be Braun and Julie McGuire. Julie McGuire is the epitome of establishment, folks. If you do not believe me, all you need to do is you need to go to the Indiana Secretary of State's office website. You need to type in Indiana political campaign finance. You need to look up the finance reports for Julie McGuire from the year 2022. I will pick these up and I will put them on social media in the next day or so. I will get them out there before Saturday. It needs to be seen how much the Indiana Republican Party was willing to throw at her. Why would they be willing to throw that much money at her? She is as establishment as it comes. She might be more establishment than Mike Braun is. So she, the mouthwash podcast show, whatever it is. So obviously she's got bad breath or something. I don't know. Bad breath or bad candidate. I'm willing to say she's a bad candidate. Maybe a bad candidate with bad breath. I just hate that we haven't had the chance to call her ass out, because I certainly would. I don't care about not filming people. I don't care about not asking the hard questions. And I'm telling you folks, you have to be willing to do the same damn thing. You have to be willing to ask the questions. And if you're going and you're a delegate, do not bow down to the pressure, because the pressure is going to come. And I'm asking you delegates, I'm going to send you delegates, the few of you that I know who you delegates are, I'm going to send you my phone number. I'm going to text it to you. I'll send it to you in Messenger, because I want you guys to let me know what's going on Saturday, because I have a very sneaking suspicion that you guys are going to start getting pressure. And I want to hear about it. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Julie McGuire is not who we need, not who we want. We need to... I don't want her to be a candidate. I don't want her to be an elected official. Right now, she's a state representative. I certainly don't want to give her a pay bump. I don't want to give her a job increase. I don't want to. She's not done anything worth being able to rise up the ranks. To hell with that. Ridiculous. So, all right, folks. I want to thank you all for everything. Okay. So I want to no, that's the problem there, though. Everyone that says don't waste your vote on Rainwater, what happens is the people who say that, if those people would go in and switch, see, it's not, this is, we're just all people. So let's just break it down to have, let's say there's 10 people in the state of Indiana, and there's 3 candidates. 1, 2, 3. 3 candidates, and you've got 10 people. If you've got these people that are saying, well, don't waste your vote on this, if those people would go in and push the person, the bottom line is there are issues with Jennifer McCormick. There are definitely issues with Mike Braun. Rainwater is a choice that could be better. That is better. That will be better. Definitely better than Mike Braun. And for the rest of you out there that say, well, I hate Braun, I guarantee you, most of you don't know who the other candidate is. You don't like Braun, so who are you voting for? I don't like Braun, so I'm just going to blindly vote for the other person that's not Braun, that's not Rainwater. Well, that's not a good way to vote either. So if you know Braun is not the candidate and you've heard rainwater, throw the support behind rainwater. And if more people did that, we would have a chance. Rainwater is not a slouch. In 2020, rainwater received second place or better in how many? 33 out of 92 counties? 35 out of 92 counties? Something like that. Somewhere close to that. So that is an important distinction. It's not like he's only getting 2%, 1%. It's a much higher number than what people know, what people are told. They don't want you to know that. And listen, in the state of Indiana, the Democrat's not going to win. The Democrat is not winning in Indiana. So your option is a Republican who is not a conservative Republican, or someone who at least is constitutionally minded, liberty, freedom minded. All right, folks, you guys have a great evening. Thank you for everything. This has been a long show. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. We will be back at 9 p.m. Hey, I do want to say before we roll, hey, I love hearing that, Janet. That is very, 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 very important. Thank you for passing that along. I do want to let you guys know that it is Wednesday, June 12th. We have been 163 days without a response from Councilor Basham. That is Dale Basham, Muncie City Councilor of the Muncie City Council at large. He's one of the 3 at-large council members, and he has not responded via email, text, Facebook Messenger, phone call, in person. He has not responded to a question, to a concern. He's not reached out in any way since he has been in office. He took office on January 1st, 2024. It has been 163 days, and we are keeping track. So just to let you all know, we will be back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Thank you. 9 p.m. Eastern. So you guys, thank you all very much. Share the show with everyone you know, and we will see you then. Good night. Good night. Ha 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 ha.